Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about real estate conditions, what they are, how they work, and when you really should use them. But before we start, please click the subscribe button below, notification bell, and like this video. It will really help this video reach out to more people like you who are really interested in the same topic. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section below and I promise I'll answer all of them as soon as I can. Alright, well, conditions are found in almost all real estate purchase contracts. They're contractual terms that form part of a contract to buy or sell real estate. The condition is specifically used to protect a buyer or a seller. Their function is to make the entire contract conditional on a waiving of the condition. So let me give you an example. If buyer needs to secure a mortgage financing to buy a home, the financing condition acts as a protection for them. If they fail to secure the mortgage, the financing condition allows for them to undo the contract. It is as if the contract never existed. Deposit goes back to the buyer and the seller then must resell the home. There is no further obligation or rights under the contract. It is essentially like the contract never existed. So let's discuss a few different types of buyer's conditions. The most common three conditions used by the buyers include condition for property inspection, financing, and condominium document reviews. However, there are many other conditions protecting buyers when concerns exist about a specific property. Drafting a condition for any concern a buyer has protects them from continued obligation to buy the property. For example, the following conditions help protect buyer for specific risks: sale of a buyer's property condition, pet approval for condominium purchase, asbestos inspection, confirming specific permitted uses of property, electrical inspection, lawyer review of the contract, reviewing of real property report, and even environmental testing. Also, there are different types of seller's conditions. While used less frequently, seller's conditions protect the sellers from breaching a contract if they remain unsure to their ability to sell property. Although they should have figured out this prior to listing the property, but here are some examples that sellers may include a condition or conditions for: subdivision of property, securing the purchase to the next home, securing a grant of probate, the ability to pay off all the debt on the title are just some of the examples. So let's talk about obligations of conditions. In typical resale transaction, the conditions include obligations for the person relying on the condition. The person has a positive obligation to act in a good faith and make a good faith effort to satisfy their conditions. So for example, with a home inspection condition, the buyer has a positive obligation to actually hire a home inspector, have the home inspected, and either waive or not waive conditions based on the results of the inspection. But what happens if the buyer fails to do an inspection? Well, if the buyer fails to conduct an inspection with a licensed home inspector as per the contract, the buyer risks losing their deposit and potentially facing a lawsuit for breaching the contract. But you might wonder who has the benefit of real estate contract conditions. While each contract is different, a typical real estate contract in Alberta limits the protection offered by the condition to the party who the condition protects. Sounds confusing, right? Well, let me give you an example here. Well, for example, a mortgage financing condition drafted to protect the buyer only protects the buyer. Specifically, if a buyer lacks the ability to get the mortgage, the seller lacks the right to terminate the contract with the buyer. The same applies if sellers have conditions that protects them. If your accepted offer was conditional, you need to try to satisfy your conditions. I would like to review a few of the most common conditions in the purchase contracts today. So let's review a few of the most common conditions. Financing. If you include financing condition, you need to confirm your financing before waiving this condition. Before you waive your financing condition, your lender or mortgage broker, if you're working with one, will need documents related to the property you're buying. They will likely need a copy of your accepted offer to purchase, the listing sheet for the property you're purchasing, and depends on local regulations and laws, they might ask you for a real property report and a copy of the property title. Make sure you carefully review the mortgage commitment provided by your lender. Lenders include various conditions in such a commitment. If your lender includes conditions, carefully consider whether you're ready to waive your financing condition on the offer to purchase. Another very common condition is home inspection. If you included a home inspection condition in your offer to purchase, it's time to hire a home inspector. Home inspectors in Alberta, Canada, where I am from, need a home inspector license through Service Alberta. A home inspection is a professional opinion on a condition of the property based on non-invasive examination of its features and components. The home inspector will give you a written report of their findings. This report will give you a sense of the condition for a number of major components, which typically will include electrical, heating and air conditioning, roof and foundation. The home inspector will also attempt to determine if the property might have any moisture problems, but they base on assessment only on what's visible. It is not unusual, well, I should say it is actually very common for a home inspection to uncover some issues. Talk about the report with your home inspector and with your real estate agent. Remember, when you include a home inspection as a condition, that condition only covers a home inspection by a home inspector. If you would like an additional inspections to occur, you need to include them as a conditions to your offer to purchase. Third very common condition is condominium document review. If you are buying a condominium, you will likely include condominium document review condition. Condominium documents relate to the operation of the condominium corporation. When you're buying a condominium, you're buying into a corporation, common property, and shared responsibilities. You want to ensure the condominium corporation is financially stable, managed well, and the property is well maintained. The seller is required to provide you with a huge list of condo documents. These include current operating budget and fee schedules, current balance sheets, recently audited financial statements, reserve fund studies and plans, registered bylaws, AG meeting minutes, and many other documents. There are companies who will, for a fee, do this review for you, provide you with a summary of the documents, and identify areas about which you might have concern. That review can uncover financial difficulties, unacceptable bylaws, for example, restrictions to a size, number, or type of a pet, or necessary maintenance. Your reviewer will discuss their findings with you, highlighting anything of a concern. While you want to ensure the unit itself is what you're looking for and that will serve your purpose of a home, you also want to make sure you're comfortable with the way corporation is run. So what do you do when all of the conditions are met? If you meet all of the conditions, you're prepared to proceed with your purchase. Your real estate agent will provide you with a waiver to sign. If you don't waive all of the conditions, your accepted offer to purchase is void. The seller has no further obligations to you and you have no further obligations to the seller. On the other hand, if you waive your conditions and end up not proceeding with the purchase, you will lose your deposit and may be subject to legal action. I recommend only waive your conditions if and when you're confident you're going to proceed with the transaction. Well, that will be all for this episode, and thank you for staying with me all until the end. If you have any questions about home buying or selling process, I'm here to help you. And if you haven't subscribed already to my channel, please do now.